Hello there everyone, this is Caster here. Welcome to episode 1 of Dice at the Ready. Today we're going to be making a Shadow Monk build using 2024 rules. In my mind, with this character, you can be like a stealthy predator. You could scout ahead, you could be a little detective, and you can cause quite some fear in your enemies' hearts. And you might be going as, "Hi, I'm Castro. I don't want to be that guy, but it seems a little bit familiar. Kind of like good old Batman over there." And you'll be dang right. We've been making Batman using 2024 rules. And as every great story needs a beginning, so starts our background and race. We're going to start with variant human for the species. Variant human gives you an extra feat. We're going to pick tough with this. It gives you extra HP in every level that you gain. Also, you gain a proficiency. We're going to go with intimidation over there. Medium size, of course. You get a walking speed of 30 feet, and the rest comes from our class later on. For the background, we are going to go with noble here, as the Vane family is an important part of the city. And in many of these comic stories, they have had an important effect on the city of Gotham. So, noble felt like the right choice there. Going noble gives you proficiency in history and persuasion, both of them amazing skills for your social encounters. Also, the noble field gives you the skilled feat, which you can choose 3 different skills or tools. We're going to go with skills. You probably heard my cat there. For the skills, we're going to pick up investigation, we're going to pick up acrobatics, deception and performance. Both of them are good. This is more of a way to kind of portray himself as the, highborn of the city, the noble boy, but in reality, he is something else. Let's go with deception, just to be sure. For our ability points, we're going to start with 8 in strength. I am so sorry, Batfleck. We're going to go 15 in dexterity, and then we're going to add 2 from our human source. We're going to go 12 with our constitution. It might not seem a lot, but since we have tough, it gives us a large enough pool of HP to draw from. We're going to go with 11 in intelligence. We're going to go 15 in wisdom, and add a +1 from our human species as well, and a 10 in charisma. Level 1, we're going to start with monk. Level 1 monk gives you 2 proficiencies, skill proficiencies, and 1 tool proficiency. We're going to take stealth and athletics here. And for the tools, you could go with smith's tool to kind of have that vibe of, Batman creating his own armor. Or you could go for perhaps brewers or alchemists to be making your different potions or grenades in that sense. Also, at level 1 monk, you get proficiency with all light weapons, with all simple weapons, and light martial weapons. So that means you can use a short sword, but not a rapier, since that's not a light weapon, or a long sword. Although you can hold it in one hand, it needs to be light. And all simple weapons. Also, when you're not wearing armor or wielding any shield, you get 3 different benefits. First thing, you can make a bonus action unarmed strike. Secondly, dexterous strikes. You can use dexterity for unarmed strikes or monk weapons, and it uses your martial art die. With 2024 rules, your martial art die at level 1 is a 1d6. So if you have 2 daggers in your hand, it doesn't do 1d4, it does a 1d6 damage. So that's a very great buff for monks. What else? Also, your armor class, it is 10 plus your dexterity plus your wisdom. At this level, we have 17 from our dexterity, that's 3 over there, and we got 16 from our wisdom, that's another 3, that puts us at 16 armor class at level 1. Level 2, key points, or as the 2024 version calls it, focus points. You can use these focus points for 3 different actions. One of them is Flurry of Blows. Remember that you can make a bonus action unarmed strike. Well, if you use one of these focus points, instead of one strike, you can do 2 strikes. Of course, you need to roll for both hit, but that technically increases your damage by 50%. In level 2, you're making 3 strikes. What else do you get? You get patient defense, which is like the dodge action as a bonus action. Of course, this uses your focus point. And I'm sure there was another thing, but I need to check it. Let me check my notes. Found it. The third one was Step of the Wind, which is like a bonus action dash and disengage at the same time. Also, when you use your focus point to activate this, your jump distance also doubles. So this is very great if you need to run away from something very quickly. Another thing, at this level, your base movement speed increases by 10 feet. So from 30 feet, we just went to 40 feet of movement. One more thing you unlock at level 2 is called Uncanny Metabolism. What it does is, once per day, you roll a d6, not a d6, your martial art die, future levels, this increases, plus your monk level, whatever that number was, you gain that much temporary HP back. Also, you get all of your key points back on rolling initiative, but this only happens once per day. Even if you're a level 12 monk, it's still the same. Level 3. This is where we choose our subclass, and we are going to go with Warrior of Shadow. What it gives us is, first, using one focus point, you can cast the Darkness spell. This counts as a magic action. Casting this in the past, you were not able to see through it, but with the 2022 version, you are able to see through the darkness that you have casted using your focus point. If you have Warlock with Devil's Sight, they can also see through this as well. What other things do you get? You get Dark Vision for 60 feet. Usually as a human, we don't have Dark Vision. This gives us 60 feet Dark Vision. If you were any other creature that already had Dark Vision, this increases it by another 60 feet. Also, you can cast the Minor Illusion cantrip, and you use your Wisdom for this modifier. Imagine this as Batman creating a distraction to grab the guard's attention to somewhere else. And one more thing at level 3, all monks unlock is deflect attacks. What it does is, when you get hit by a physical damage, so that is slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. So imagine an arrow hitting you, or a longsword hitting you. You can reduce the damage by 1d10 plus your monk level plus your dexterity modifier. So at level 3, you can reduce the damage by 1d10, and with our class, we're reducing it 1d10 plus 6, and it uses only your reaction. When you reduce this, and if the damage becomes 0, you can use a focus point to kind of counter-attack the person attacking you. So if it is an arrow, you kind of deflect it back, or if they attacked you with the sword, you hit them back. They need to pass a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, which at this level is 8, plus your proficiency 2, that's 10, plus your wisdom modifier, which is 3, so that's a 13 dexterity saving throw. If they fail that dexterity saving throw, they're going to get hit with 2 of your martial arts die, which is like a d6 right now. That's a 2d6 plus your dexterity modifier, which is a 3. 2d6 plus 3 if you reduce that damage to 0, which is an amazing skill to have at such low level. At level 4, this is where we unlock our first feat. These are usually feats that also gives you an ability score improvement as well, also called as half feats. We're going to go with Skulker here. This helps us put our dexterity at 18, which is plus 4 our modifier, increases your hit chance, increases your damage, and increases your armor class. At the same time, this is very good for your dexterity saving throws. You will very soon be making against fireballs coming. What else? Oh, the Skulker feat itself. It gives you 10 feet of blind sight. So you could imagine this as Batman being in utter darkness, and he is the master in there. Why is this helpful, you might say, that you already can cast your own darkness? Well, if you have a warlock, a shadow sorcerer or any other creature that is casting darkness or anything else that you're not able to see in it. In other scenarios, you would be blinded, and meaning all attacks against you would be made in advantage, and all attacks you make would be made with disadvantage. Now, although 10 feet of blind sight removes that melee aspect of it, but if anybody is shooting at you in range that they can see in that darkness, 10 feet doesn't remove the advantage they have against you. So keep that in mind, but it is an amazing feat to have. Another bonus that Skulker gives you is something called Fog of War. Usually in battle you can take the action Hide, which you need to roll, if I'm not mistaken, a DC 15 stealth check to, hide yourself in the terrain or like behind the tree or whatever that environment is, but there must be somewhere to hide behind it. What this feat does, it gives you advantage on that hide action in battle. This is not advantage for all stealth checks, this is just for the ones made as part of the hide action in a battle. Another thing is, which gives you, is that when you shoot somebody with a ranged weapon and it misses, it doesn't give away your position. Of course, this is not very Batman-y, as you're not going to be using any longbow or anything else. But we do have proficiency with darts, so we could be throwing darts at aka our batarangs without the enemy understanding where they are being hit if you miss it, which at this level with our abilities I'm pretty sure we're hitting. Another thing level 4 gives you to all monks is called Slow Fall. Slow Fall is when you take fall damage, you can reduce that damage using a reaction by 5 times your monk level. So at level 4 you can reduce that by 20 damage. If I want to put that in perspective, every 10 feet of dropping is 1d6 of damage, bludgeoning damage. So to be reducing by 20 feet, that you would be dropping 40 feet. That is nearly a 10-meter drop, if not more. And in higher levels, of course, this becomes higher. You could absolutely Batman dive over somewhere without needing to worry about damage at all. Level 5. This is where you get your extra attack feature, that when you make the attack action, you can make another second attack as part of the same action. Also, one more thing that all monks unlock is called Stunning Strike. Stunning Strike is similar to how a smite works. When you hit somebody, and that moment of hit, you can decide to say that this was a Stunning Strike. What it does is the creature must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC, which, as I said, is 8, plus your proficiency, plus your wisdom modifier, and at this level, that's 8, 3, and 3, so that would be 14. If they fail this, they are stunned until the beginning of their next turn, so that means they can't take any actions, they can't take any bonus actions, and they can't take any reactions. And every attack you make against them is made with advantage. Level 6. Usually at around this level, you're going to see enemies that are resistant to non-magical damage, non-magical physical damage. So if you have, let's say, a longsword, a great axe, something that's not magical against, let's say, some of these stronger undead creatures, it does not do any damage to them, or at least they might be resistant to it. At level 6, what monks unlock is that instead of your normal bludgeoning damage or other monk weapons that you're doing, I apologize, this is not for monk weapons, this is just for unarmed strikes. So your punches, instead of doing bludgeoning damage, you can choose to do force damage if you'd like, which is amazing. Force damage is one of the least resisted damage in all of D&D. That's great. One more thing you unlock as the Shadow Monk is Shadow Step. If you're starting your turn in darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport to another darkness, another kind of dim lit. Let me check if this dim lit. Oh yes, so it's not just darkness. Even you starting your turn in a dim lit or a darkness area, you can use a bonus action to teleport to another dim lit or darkness place. Up to range of 60 feet, which is an amazing teleport to do. And when you do so, using this bonus action, your next attack, until your start of your next turn, so it's better to do like your teleport first and then attack, that attack has advantage. One more thing you unlock at level 6 is the bonus to your movement from 10 feet just went up to 15 feet. So on your normal turn, you could move 45 feet with a dash that's 90 feet, which is amazing for your positioning and mobility. At level 7, you unlock evasion. What evasion does is whenever you make a dexterity saving throw, if you save, you get no damage, and if you fail, you get half damage. This is unique to monks and rogues, if I'm not mistaken, which is an amazing ability. This helps you against spells like Firebolt that I mentioned a little bit ago that requires a dexterity saving throw. Many people, when they make that save, they're still taking half damage from that spell. Rogues and monks here take no damage from that. Level 8, we're going to pick the feat Observant. Imagine this as more of a experienced Bruce. He's able to read lips. He also gains an expertise in one of the skills he wants. We're going to increase our intelligence by 1, going from 11 to 12. It's not a big one. Our wisdom is already good enough, so we're not going to increase that for now. This gives you +1 to all of your intelligence checks, like an investigation, history, insight as well. And your expertise in your investigation makes you a top-notch detective, as Batman is. At level 9, you unlock improved, what's it called exactly? Acrobatic movement. What it means is, if you're not wearing any armor or shield, as most monks shouldn't, what you can do is, in your movement, you could also move on vertical spaces or on the surface of water. But you must keep in mind that at the end of your movement, if you're not on, let's say, flat surface, you would be dropping. If your movement doesn't get you to the top of that building, you would fall down. And if you end your turn on top of the water surface, you will be dropping into the water as well. Might be good to remember that. Level 10, you unlock Heightened Focus. Heightened Focus helps you improve those focus abilities that you were able to do. Flurry of Blows, instead of 2 attacks, will be making 3 attacks in the bonus action, same 1 focus point cost. That means that you can attack 5 times in a round. That's 2 attacks and 3 from the Flurry of Blows. Another thing you do is, with your Patient Defense, which was your bonus action dodge, you also gain temporary HP equal to your 2 rolls of your martial art die. By the way, your martial art die at this level 10 is a D8, so that's 2 D8s of temporary HP. Another thing is, for that Step of the Wind, which was your bonus action, dash, disengage, and double jump, is you can bring a willing creature that is standing next to you, that's the distance of 5 feet, with yourself in this movement. This is kind of like a tactic here, let me help you. And you take them with your Perspiration, which at the end of your turn, you may choose to end the charmed, frightened, or I believe poisoned, yes, poisoned condition on yourself if you're under any of these influences. Also, not eating food or not drinking water doesn't give you an exhaustion level, as many others need to forage. Your mind and body is a strong fortress. At level 11, what you unlock is called Improved Shadow Step. What it does is, using 1 focus point, you can remove the requirement of starting your teleport from a dim light or a darkness area. This just allows you to teleport 60 feet away to another dim lit or darkness area, and using the same bonus action, you can immediately make an unarmed strike right after coming out of your teleport, which is an amazing movement and repositioning skill, and you could surprise archer that is hiding on top of the rooftop in night of time, of course. And our final level for this build, level 12, we're going to take the ability score improvement Dexterity to bump our dex from 18 to 20. That gives you the maximum amount for your hit chance, for your damage, all you can get for your initiative and armor class and your dexterity saving throws. All of these are coming from your dex, which at this level you're able to max it. Here we are at level 12 of Monk. I could go further with this build, but usually most campaigns usually finish around this level 10, 11, or 12. Of course, there are higher level campaigns that you could be playing this as, and I would definitely recommend that you continue at least to level 14 as monk. On level 13, you get deflect energy, which is very similar to the deflect attacks that you unlock at level 3. This time you can incorporate energy attacks as part of the same reaction as well. I'm gonna put this over here. What else? At level 14 also you're going to gain proficiency in all saving throws. Generally monks get it with strength and dexterity. Level 14 you're proficient in all saving throws. That's at least a +5 to all of your proficiencies, to all of your saving throws. Other stuff, at level 12, right now your dexterity is 20, your wisdom 16, constitution and intelligence, both of them at 12, and your charisma at 8. Your charisma would be 10, and your strength would be 8, as it is here. You got +9 to attacks, and this is like without any like magical items, just your base class. You got +9 to attack. Your attack dice is a d10 if I'm not mistaken at level 12. So that's a 1d10 +5 on your main actions and your flurry of blows. So that's like 5d10 +25 if all of your attacks hit, of course. And if you're casting darkness, all of these attacks, and if you and the enemy are in that darkness, all of these attacks are made with advantage. So that's a lot of damage. Also, your armor class is 18, that is 5 from your dexterity and 3 from your wisdom. It's a high armor class. It's not the highest possible, of course, if you're wearing plate armor and like having shield, definitely at this levels. Your marshals have like a +1 armor or a +1 shield, so their armor class is around 20, 21, 22. Yours is 18, but one advantage monks have at this level is if you get hit, you can reduce that damage by 1d10 +17. That's 12 from your monk and 5 from your dexterity, which is a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 27 damage you can reduce just with a reaction. And if you can reduce this to 0, you could force the creature to do a dexterity saving throw, which would be a DC 15 at this level. And that creature, if it fails, will get 2d10 +5 damage, all part of the same reaction. At level 4, we unlock that fall damage reduction, which was 5 times your monk level. At level 12, you can reduce that damage by 60. That's a flat 60 damage reduction. To give some perspective, 60 damage is the average damage of 15d6, which is 150 feet fall. So this is definitely the Batman cape and gliding down that you have. Anything else here that comes to my point? Also, we have 12 focus points that you can regain all of them on a short rest or a long rest as well. And that is how you build a Batman. There are a few magic items that I feel like are quite in theme with how Batman is, and also some great magical items for all monks to have. I'm going to list them right now. We're going to start from like common to uncommon, rare, and very rare, and I'm going to add one legendary item that all monks absolutely love. Now, for the common items, there are 3 common items I feel like really fits with our character. First one is the Cloak of Billowing. This is Batman standing on a ledge with his cape behind him, and he's brooding, looking down at the city, the cape just like flapping all behind him in the air. Another one is the Dread Helm. The description of it says it's a steel helm that when you put it on your head, your face is covered in shadow and your eyes are turned red. You could flavor it as white eyes, which would be very in line with Batman keeping his identity as a secret. Another thing that I feel like it's really good would be a feather token. A feather token is like a coin. It's a one-time use item that as you're dropping, you can cast Feather Fall, which is like a reaction that reduces your fall damage. Now, For the uncommon items, there are two items that are great for your stealthiness. The boots of Elvenkind and the cloak of Elvenkind, both of them give you advantage on hiding. Boots also have this flavor of you don't leave any footsteps and your footsteps doesn't have any noise, which is amazing for your stealth sections. A Helm of Avernus would also be very useful. It's like having the feat alert. You can't be surprised and you have advantage on initiatives, which is great. And another item would be the Belt of Dragonkind. These are unique belts for monks. Based on its rarity, it gives a +1, +2, or a +3 to your spell save DC, to key save DC technically. So for your stunning strikes, for your the deflect damage that you do, all of these use that spell save DC, and these dragon belts directly increase that DC, making it harder for your enemies to succeed. One more thing I forgot to mention is the Eldritch Claw Tattoo. This is also an uncommon item, but in my opinion, this should have been rare. You get +1 to your hit and damage of your unarmed strikes, and when you activate this for my cat is playing. I believe 1 minute or 10 minutes. I'm gonna put the item description right here so you can see it. Your reach increases by 10 feet, and you can do force damage for your punches, which is great if you're fighting a very large enemy that, let's say, or maybe if they're a little bit farther away, maybe hovering in the sky. These are great to have. And for the rare items, one of the things that I would definitely recommend is the Braces of Defense. Braces of Defense gives +2 to armor class for when you're not wearing any armor or not wielding any shield. This is very useful for spellcasters like sorcerers and wizards, barbarians, and most importantly, monks. Another thing I could definitely recommend, which is very in line with Batman's full identity, is the Cloak of the Bat. When you're in dim light, you can take the corners of the cape and you can gain a flying speed, I believe 40 feet. Here's the description. And you can also polymorph into a full giant bat, which is Man-Bat. Other stuff that can be very helpful would be Amulet of Health. Our current constitution score is 12. So with this, I believe it puts it at 19, so it would be like 18. They will be at this level nearly how many more points? 36 points more of HP, which is a good boost if we haven't picked up tough in like future levels. Also, the monk's bread and butter is wraps of unarmed power or prowess. Unarmed power is the new 2024 Dungeon Master book. Unarmed prowess is from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I believe. And it's like a +1, +2, and +3 weapon, but instead of a weapon, it's for your unarmed strikes. The legendary item I was talking about is Gloves of Soul Catching. With Gloves of Soul Catching, your unarmed strikes does an extra 1d10 force damage, and your constitution score is set to 20. Also, you gain other benefits, which are here and here. And that would be the end of this Batman build video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you feel like we could have done anything better or any other item that feels much better for this character, please leave them below in the comments. If you want any other specific character for our next build, do mention it, and best of luck. Godspeed.